I have yet to see the movie Sinners, but I watched your take on it, and it's funny because my uncle, who's a big MAGA guy, and my aunt's black, and my uncle's a big Mexican dude. You would think, what the hell's up with your family? Hey, we're diverse. They're big MAGA guys. He goes, I didn't think it was that bad. He goes, but a guy did stand up and said, "Kill Whitey" in the middle of the film.
It was bad. Look, people are desensitized to it, and people have just accepted it as normal. That movie was as nakedly racist as any movie that's been made in the last 110 years. I'll go back to Birth of a Nation. Uh, it had a clear message: the white man is the devil, and if you missed the point, they came up with some stupid, ridiculous ending. It was like, oh, just in case you missed the point, we're gonna have the KKK show up at this place for no reason, no foreshadowing, no nothing, and Michael B. Jordan's gonna shoot them all. He's gonna ambush and kill them all. And so this is after Michael B. Jordan's character spent the entire previous night, all night and into the morning, fighting vampires, and everybody dies except for him and one other guy. And then out of with no foreshadowing on that, Michael B. Jordan gets to the end of the night or first thing in the morning and says, "Let me go hide in the woods because the KKK is going to come and I'm going to ambush and kill them all." And I'm just the move. I'm sorry. I think your uncle's just desensitized. I don't know which content you've seen of mine. Did you see me and Jack Pasabik's
Yeah, I saw some of it. I saw your first take
conversation?
on it and
Yeah.
was laughing about the fact you're like, here I am, 10 o'clock on a Monday night, place is packed out. And lo and behold, I was like, I didn't even think of it like that. I didn't even know it was a vampire movie, to be honest, based on the trailers.
It's a spoof or a takeoff, not a spoof, but a takeoff. It basically, as Posobiec pointed out, and then I went and read up on Dusk Till Dawn, a famous George Clooney movie that I'm probably going to try to watch. But it just basically ripped off that plot, moved it to 1932 Mississippi, and made white people the devils and the vampires, and they suck the blood, and they want your songs, and they want your memories, and blah blah blah. And the only way we can have happiness and harmony is if we all join the dark side, if you all become like me. And it was nakedly racist, and but we've just come to accept it.
Let me, and this is interesting because, I'm sitting here and, my show's on, I don't know, like 100 stations nationwide, about 4 million listeners a week. And I've got my show in, obviously, Nashville. And I try to, I want, my goal is to reach as many people as possible, right and left. I mean, you can't convince people that your ideas are better if you're always insulting them. But I'll tell you, man, we're so fragmented and we're in such a battle. And, you're having your big men's thing. It looks awesome. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, young women are struggling as much as young men are.
Disagree, but I hear you.
Well, when it comes to, they think they need nothing. They think they need nobody. They think they can do it all themselves. They're being sold a bill of goods that their world is perfect the way it is, and they're missing out, I think, on a lot of things, as well as young men have been sold a bill of goods for years. We know.
There's You're right. There's truth in what you're saying in terms of the women have an issue of they've been walked into a delusion that pretending to be men, wanting to be men is fulfillment and the greatest accomplishment a woman could have. And they've been forced that mentality, and everybody believes the more money you got, the more happy you are. It's not, it has nothing to do with family or developing and nurturing kids properly. It has nothing to do with the pursuit of holiness. Everybody's in pursuit of individual happiness and their own natural desires. And you got women running around trying to be men, and they've convinced men that you need to tap into your feminine side and become more emotional and not be leaders. Everything's got to be a co-partnership. And so the whole order, is just out of line. Man following God and woman following man that's following God is no longer of a structure that's even recognized or tolerated or supported in America. And hurt young boys and it's hurt young women. Young men are depressed. They're not interested in dating. Again, men aren't really attracted to female versions of men. We,
No.
we need women that want to be feminine, want to be helpmeets, want to be mothers, want to be wives, want to be provided for, and are willing to follow a man that's following God, and that's just not any part of the equation right now in America.
No, it's not. And it's sad because one of the things I always talk about is we got a population problem. Like from an honest political, the Western culture, modern society, Japan, Korea, us. I mean, we have Europe. We have a population problem that isn't going to get any better because we're not going to date. I watched this guy today who was talking about dating, and he said, "Look, this is it. Women, this is what I get all the time. I like the idea of you. I just don't actually want the reality of you." And I think that is not going to help us grow our society. It's not a healthy thing.
Well, we've so been convinced that everything revolves around, are you happy? And so a woman starts dating a man, and the first question she'll get asked by her mother or friends, does he make you happy? And like that's the end all be all. Men are running around looking for women that make them happy. And well, happiness is just, it's a temporary, fleeting emotion. And you can't base life around the pursuit of happiness. You can base life around the pursuit of holiness. And so it's not, marriage isn't unpacked that way in the church anymore. It's all about happiness, and people's happiness goes whatever direction the wind is blowing. It can change instantly. As for women with their hormonal issues and variances, you just can't. There's no person that can make another person happy. There's no situation that can make a person happy in a sustainable manner. And so what you can do is partner with a woman in your pursuit of holiness, in your pursuit of a successful family, in your pursuit of developing kids that are an asset to society. You can pursue that. That's achievable. It's sustainable. And so, but we've just all moved away from that, and everything's just an individual pursuit. And that's what, Chad, I've been saying for several years, and it irritates people. But I think only married couples should vote. We need to tilt things back in favor of the nuclear family if we really want to fix the cultural problems in America.
When you say that, what do people like? I could say married. People over. I think if you're old enough to go to the military and you're over 18, I think until you're like 25, I could see, you being able to vote still. But after that, okay, maybe. But when you say that, man, that's got to freak people out. Go, what the hell are you saying, Jason?
It freaks people because, one, I'm unmarried, and I'm telling people, no, I'm perfectly fine in a society that favors family. I'll be perfectly fine with those rules that get set up to cater to families. When a society is set up to cater to individuals, and so therefore there are no bounds, there's no limitations. No one thinks, again, I say it all the time, and it's like it's common sense, but people don't think about it. Not everything is for everybody. And people need to understand that. We've been convinced that everything is for everybody. And I just say that's just not true. I'm overweight, Chad. I can't wear size 34 jeans. They're not for me. I have to deal with the consequences of that. We've created a society where overweight people take to TikTok and ever the social media apps and says, you know what? Southwest Airlines needs to make all their seats 6 inches wider to accommodate me. No one is, well, hey, how about losing some weight? And so I'll give you just another less humorous example. But, when I was out living in Los Angeles and at the peak of my sports media career, I was wealthy and famous, and I was promiscuous. But I was smart enough to know, like, hey, man, if you're not interested in a monogamous relationship, don't propose marriage to any woman. It's not for you. That's, you don't want to be monogamous, so don't get married. Well, we've just said, nope, marriage is for everybody. And so if two men want to get married, instead of saying, hey, I'm gay, marriage is a thing for men and women, it's established by God, it's established in the Bible, that's an institution for men and women. Instead, we just said, nope, it's for everybody. And so if two men want to get married, two women want to get married, we'll call that a marriage. We live in a society with no boundaries, no restraints, no common sense, because it's just true. It's factual. Not everything is for everybody, and we've lost sight of that. We want to take a pill so that hey, Jason, if you want to overeat all your life, we got a pill that'll fix that and let you do that, and you won't pay the consequences until we've created a self-destructive society that's bent on pleasing everything that runs through our head, and you can't build a structured, safe, great society unless there are boundaries and rules, and people have to deal with the consequences of their decisions. We don't have that anymore. It's no different than Chad. I can't remember if I was on your show, but talking about the Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony, that stabbing in Frisco, Texas. It's a 17-year-old stabs another 17-year-old in the heart, and we can't even all agree. Like, hey man, this is a brutal crime. This is murder. We need justice for the 17-year-old that's killed. They've turned that into a debate about, well, he was getting bullied, and the other kid put his hand on him, so of course he had the right to stab him in the heart and kill him. It's crazy. There's no right and wrong in a society where everybody thinks everything is for everybody, where everybody is looking for their victimhood status. I mean, I'm sitting, a 17-year-old stabs another 17-year-old in the heart, and the family of the murderer is holding press conferences talking about how they're victims. This is insane.
Well, that whole thing with Carmelo and they're selling merch and they're doing stuff, and you sit back and you think, what in God's name, how did we get to this point? Take away the race thing. It was an awful thing. And yet people now know that victimhood gives people the opportunity to earn money. It used to be, we talk about, the likes of Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al. Now it is an industry unlike any other. And any situation can become the Olympics of hey, this is it. I am here in the Olympics of oppressed. And no, I'm here. I should get paid. No, I should get paid. It's nuts, man.
It's absolutely nuts. The whole industry of entitlement and victimhood, none of this is sustainable. You're taking away incentive for people that want to achieve and want to accomplish things and invent things. We've removed merit, and absolutely everything is like trying to find out how you're a victim. And I'll circle it all the way back to where we started with the movie Sinners. That movie is propaganda to instill that mindset into that audience, and it's primarily a young black audience that's made this the number one movie in America. And that movie is just telling them, you're a victim, you've been a victim since the 1930s and 1920s, and the movie very subtly tried to suggest that, like, hey, the things that you're doing now, the twerking, the profane music, the using drugs, the random killings. Hey, this was all going on in the 1930s. You're just an extension of your ancestors. Nothing's really changed. Your ancestors were the exact same way. This is how it was. And they were this way because there were these white devils here. And if we can slay the white devils, then and only then can we correct our own behavior. It's crazy.
Do you think it's one of those things where, again, very over some stuff is only so ridiculous and only educated people in academia would believe? It's this new world of it's my truth. So You know what? Maybe so and so did get stabbed, but based on his truth, he deserved it. There's
All right,
got to
he
be
was
a truth, right?
yeah, based on his truth, he was just defending himself from someone who told him to get out of a seat. Yes, and but it's all we've made ourselves, Chad, our own gods. They're again, all of this is an attack on a biblical worldview. The Bible establishes truth. The Bible establishes morality, and it's the only reason why we know that murder is wrong. This is all established by God, and so there's the society's gone really secular, and it's gone really uh, individual truth, individual facts, individual victimhood. You know, the Bible is a story about the sacrifices Jesus made, and you know, for our salvation. And now we all turn ourselves into our own little personal Jesuses, and we love to go on and tell them, oh, do you know what I've done, what I've endured? You know how many microaggressions I've endured so that you could live free? And we've all put ourselves on the cross, and we all sell our own little individual story of victimhood. It's all a rejection of a biblical worldview. You can't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and believe you're a victim. The story's already been written. We're victors. Christians are victors. And that's what really frustrates me is these people that pass themselves off as Christ followers, but they also think they're victims. Those two are incompatible.
When you do you miss sports? Because I was sitting there just thinking you must have been. I mean, you've talked about the Shooter Sanders thing and all of that stuff, but do you miss like some of the day-to-day stuff of the X's and O's more than the controversy around it, and the pop culture and politics?
I miss sports the way it used to be. I don't miss current sports. Current sports are very divisive. The victimhood mentality has slipped into sports. Shador Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, makes a fool of himself before the NFL draft. Uh, but somehow, when he doesn't get drafted as high as he thinks or everyone expects, he's now a victim. There's a collusion. There's a conspiracy that they were afraid of him because he's a strong, outspoken black man, and there's just no truth to any of that. And so, the current iteration of sports, no, I don't miss. The athletes make too much money, they're ungrateful, and they're entitled. So I'm kind of glad that I cover sports from further away, because when I was covering sports, I really liked or I really respected Michael Jordan. I really liked Tiger Woods. I really liked Magic Johnson. Great deal of respect for Larry Bird, the great foot John Elway, and Derek Thomas and Walter Payton, and the guys that Reggie White. Had a great deal of respect for them, and I just don't have that same respect for these modern athletes. I'm sure some of them are great guys, but most of them have an entitlement, and they make such an obscene amount of money that just it's an obscene. It's we've built a society where we're paying people that haven't intellectually evolved and just entertain us. They offer no other benefit to society. We're paying them obscene amounts of money, and it's a mistake.
Last question, and I'll let you bounce. I know we're tight here on time. It's funny you talk about the obscene amount of money, all that kind of stuff in sports. I love sports, but I don't watch it like I used to. It's not because it's woke. It's just because, I've got a family, and I love that. But I will say, I look at sports today, and my frustration level is through the roof, because we have allowed politics to permeate into everything. And there are just some things I don't want. So you look at somebody like Stephen A. and what is going on with him, and the fact that, and look, he may be a great guy. I don't know. I mean, he's entertaining. There's no doubt about that. And I think at this point in time, he might be the leader of the Democratic Party because they're so bad. But the reality is, it's like the minute you open up your mouth, 50% of the country is going to have a disdain for you. And that's my frustration. I want sports to be the getaway from everything. I don't want it to be another place where people are going to preach to me.
without question, and particularly in sports, when Stephen A. Smith, and it's hard for people to believe this, but he knows very little about sports. I mean, he has no real command of sports. He's kind of a gimmick and a fraud. And then to see someone who knows so little about sports then transition, hey, I'm going to tell you about politics. He knows nothing about politics. And he knows nothing about it. And that's why he goes on these interviews and he just says, Kamala Harris was a bad candidate and the Democrats need a better candidate. He hasn't ever once said, hey, here's a policy that I believe in. Here's a solution that I believe in. All he's putting together this presidential bid on is like, hey, I'm going to be more manly and masculine. And I can't wait to debate Trump or whomever, J.D. Vance. It's a gimmick and a stick. He's uninformed and he's just another unqualified person. He's a female, a male version of Kamala Harris. And he's likely seems to be in position to get away with it.
Man, that's interesting. That's interesting.